Hey, welcome to the MMO Ronin channel. In this video, we're talking about New World's response to the Cash Shop leak that happened a couple of days ago. They responded the next day and actually said some things in here that I mentioned in my video. If you're new to the channel and you like MMOs or you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit the subscribe button because this channel is all about MMOs and having those discussions about them. And I welcome all of your input, feedback, and thoughts in the comments. So it says, some questions have come up recently from our alpha patch notes discussing an in-game storefront. Our plan in having a store is to create an outlet for players who find enough value in store items that they are happy to purchase them. Our plan is not and never will be to create a feeling that store items are necessary to enjoy the game. All players will be able to play the full game experience we ship without having to make store purchases. And all players will have that ability. It's about having the ability to skip ahead, all of that stuff. Let's continue. All store items at launch will be exclusively cosmetic in nature. So again, the key word is at launch here. Elder Scrolls, when the Elder Scrolls first came out, they brought the Crown Experience Scrolls the year after because they stopped doing the subscription base exclusively and switched into a store model. So in that store model, they had the Crown Experience points, which gave you a 50% increase. But again, that was after the game has already been out for a year, and nobody was really expecting the store at all. So when they brought that store in here, everybody just saw what was in it. And I guess that's probably what they want to do is try to get ahead of them adding something like that by saying at launch. So when they say, so they can't just be like, oh, we said the store was cosmetic only. So we are introducing the storefront in alpha in order to test these items and their value. No selections in the store or their indicated cost during these tests. There is no real cost in any case. Is final. Our purpose is quality assurance and gathering player feedback, so please share your thoughts once the system is introduced. The testing audience will see each type of item we are considering and have an opportunity to provide feedback before they are introduced to the live game. So the real problem is that we have no idea what the items that they are considering adding is. So it's kind of hard to give feedback on that. All we can say is that we don't want character boosts in the game. We want, because the game hasn't even come out yet. The game is new, and so that idea being put out there in front of everything is making people nervous that when the game drops, that there's going to be people just like straight up rushing to the end game. Now, if it's like later in where after like an expansion drops, which they mentioned here later in the paragraph or in the article, then yeah, I guess that's okay for people to catch up if you're jumping up another 20 or so levels, in the expansion. So, looking towards the future, we will also test ideas on how to offer players quality of life items for mechanics like rested XP and fast travel, both obtainable in game and purchasable in the store. I'm not sure how rested XP is obtainable and purchased. You're gonna purchase wretched. You're gonna purchase rested XP. That's such a weird idea. And I guess Azoth being available to buy. See, that's one thing that's kind of on a fine line there, because if you need Azoth to do the fast traveling maneuvers, and if you don't have enough Azoth to get across the map when there's a siege going on one of the outposts, and you want to go over there and help, then you can just buy it and get there a little bit faster. So hopefully there's not like something where there's like a shortage of Azoth, but I don't understand how fast traveling is going to help there. How you would have a fast traveling something in the store. The timing of release for these items, for these types of items, will depend on how players progress in the months after launch. The more players who are able to experience all of our exciting in-game content and game modes, the healthier the overall game experience will be for all players. It's almost like a threat, right? Our goal with all items of any type is that they are not offer an advantage that imbalances the game. We understand that this line is based on player interpretation, so we ask for your patience while we test in alpha and listen to your feedback. In my last video, I said that they can't really determine for us what is uh, competitive, because it said something about competitive. So we understand this line is based on player interpretation, which is true. For transparency on future plans, we are also contemplating but have not finalized a battle pass style program that would combine store items on a periodic basis. This will also be tested ahead of time to ensure it provides strong value without disrupting gameplay for those not participating. Much further along, there is also the possibility of optional expansions, which would have a separate cost, which is fine. Everybody expects to pay expansions because there's additional content into the game, extending the game's life and game levels and stuff like that. And expansions do cost quite a bit to make. And if they go big, like what people are wanting with like C and stuff like that, then that would be huge. Maybe they'll add swimming into the expansion. But I don't really like the main problem that people have with the store isn't the store itself, isn't cosmetics. So if everything is really just cosmetic only, then nobody has a big issue. Every the biggest issue is the experience, the word boost or quality of life. When it talks about your main features of the game that people are going to be putting the most time into, crafting and gathering, and leveling up. And so when people jump in and they're doing crafting and gathering to be that top crafter and gatherer, and there's no like food in game already that applies experience buff like there is in Final Fantasy 14, telling people that they need to pay some money to get an experience buff is a terrible idea. Now, rested experience is just a standard in all games, and so putting a premium price on that also is just really weird. So either just like double up the amount of rested experience people get on their own, make it so like if they sleep in their house, they get more experience, but you don't need to actually like sell that, right? So let's see what we got here in the comments. We got some people on the side of the Twitter post, and they kind of went into a mistake by with the way they responded to some of these. Ricardo says the more players who are able to experience all of our exciting in-game content and game modes, the healthier it is for all players. That sounds to me like you want to rush people to in-game with boost and other stuff. Sounds really bad to me. Just let people enjoy the journey. It isn't about rushing people to the end game. It is about supporting people who don't have as much time to play and helping them reach the end game with the time available to them. If you're ever seeing content as skippable or not relevant, that buying a boost is a good way to get into real content, then you failed to create an interesting content progression. Make leveling faster if you care about people wasting their time or if end game is all you care about. MMOs take a tremendous time and investment that not everyone has available. Boosts can be a way for someone who doesn't have time to get more out of the time they can play and support the game and community in another way. And so there's some people that agree with them saying this business is a charity. Almost every MMO has some sort of cash out microtransactions. There's some people saying I hope they listen to the feedback and saying that it read nicely. I think that there are ways to do this, genuinely, genuinely without causing a real uproar in the community. There's going to be stuff that people don't like always in MMOs. There's a big uproar when they switched over from PvP to more of a PvE type nature. And it just depends really on how well it is received when it was released. And hopefully, alpha testers and testers, when they happen, if they put it into the July open beta, we better give some real feedback instead of saying this sucks. Um, as far as the earlier talk about people rushing to end game, it's kind of interesting to me that they want to give people an experience boost, yet they don't want to give mounts. I wonder if they'll just have like a walking speed increase. That would be kind of interesting. Shoes of the speed boost. It's not, you don't really get any armor for it, but you walk faster and get some more experience. But nobody would like that. You should just be able to have those in the game. So until next time, guys, this is the video. Let me know what you guys thought about what their response was in the comments. I think battle passes are always weird, and I never really liked them. I thought they always ruin game systems because they're too busy trying to put stuff in the battle pass that they're actually taking stuff out of the game so they can have the battle pass full. And I know people will say they're not taking stuff out of the game because it's never in the game, but they're taking stuff away from the chance to be in the game. I look at games like, Dead by Daylight is probably the biggest example for me for the battle pass. As soon as the battle pass came in, the events sucked hardcore. The events where you used to go and get your cosmetics for the events, you're like, oh man, people used to help each other out and they have their cosmetics at the end of the event. They took that away as soon as the battle pass came in. At first, that was my first thought when it happened, and then I thought, well, maybe they'll still have the events and the battle pass will be something in addition to the events. And they did have the events, but they took out the stuff that was in the events. So until next time, guys, this is the MMO Ronin, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.